Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, Spence, let's trip out.
Ethan, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. Yeah, obviously.
Documented Geek Day.
Let's deal with this shit. All right. Here we are with another one. Two in a week. Look at us go. Two in a row.
2 in a row.
Yeah.
That would be a
back
twofer.
to back. Did one yesterday.
A twofer.
Doing one today. Insane. But tonight we got Clinton from United Defiance, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend.
It's my friend. What are you talking about?
You're the friend of a friend of a friend of a friend.
Hey, he's just a friend.
He's just a friend. But no.
I was so busy.
He's a friend of our very own Sunshine here. And she was gracious enough to reach out and get him on the show. So welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, anytime. Why don't you tell us what you guys have been up to here in the last few months or so?
Actually, we are actually for the most part on a break. Great time.
Right.
No, we after the pandemic, we went really hard at about like 45 shows within the next year, just all over the West Coast and into Eastern Canada. And on New Year's, we pretty much kind of hit a wall. Just we need a break, you know.
Yeah.
So we've been kind of doing our own thing. I mean, Sasha, our lead guitar player, he lives up in Portland. We kind of live all over the place right now. So I mean, we have the only time we practice together is like right before a show or a tour. We just kind of taking it easy. We're recording some things, demoing some things, just getting a feel of what direction we want to go in.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, I was listening to I think I just went to you guys' Spotify and just hit shuffle and just let it play while I was on my walk home from work this afternoon. And y'all remind me of I felt like I was playing Tony Hawk in my mind.
Oh, awesome.
It made me feel all warm and fuzzy, and I appreciate
Yeah, that's what I
that
was
so much.
saying. It's like that 90s Epiphat sound, but like it's good because you can get so many hints of so many different bands like in your style.
Yeah, that was always my idea, was to play in a band that I would pay and go to see, you know?
Yeah.
And that I would want to go see or stick around for. And that's why we, always tend to try and put on a good show too. But as far as the music, yeah, it's all Epiphat, 90s. So, and I have very much kind of fell in love with punk rock, hardcore, 7 Seconds, Minor Threat, going into Pennywise and the faster stuff. I've always had the love for faster punk rock.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, I was just saying, like, the influences, it's not saying you hear all of it, it's a matter of influence. Like, there's the influence you're picking up, but there's also like I don't know, like take the first off of was it Change the Frequency? That album. So like that was posted a year ago, at least to YouTube, right? Great album, by the way. That first song is like a legitimate crotch grab as far as attention goes. Like that just it is amazing. But there is so much in it. Like there is so much like East Bay bass influence in there. Like it's like ranted bass lines with a 10-foot pole vocal line over the top of it.
Mm.
By the way, as a compliment, that is not comparison.
Oh no, I don't get offended too easy. So you're good.
I mean, I'm hoping you wouldn't be offended by it at all. It really is. It's like it's meant as a compliment. Like it really is an attention grabber.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Running Out of Time is definitely one of my favorites on the record. We draw a lot of influences from some pretty obscure places, because if you listen to the guitar lead on that record, Sasha was actually influenced by Castlevania, the music from it. And he wrote the lead from that. And the second I heard it, me and him are like, that's my best friend. And me and him connected like, dude, I know exactly where you're influenced by that. And then you jump ahead to a song we have, Taps, which is about, thoughts and prayers, how it helps everybody. And at the very end of it, there's this obscure gang vocal. And how I came about that was actually the end of the Gremlins movies, when all the Gremlins are singing together.
Yeah.
That's where I came up with the idea that all of a sudden we're going to have this vocal break that is, gang vocals. And that's what I heard in my head. And so I wanted it to sound snotty and bratty.
Yeah.
Like we were Gremlins singing into a microphone. And so like our influences are tapped from all over the place. And me, I usually have some sort of 80s, 90s movie references in lyrics, and
Yeah, you definitely pick up on it. Some references you can pick up on, and it just makes it enjoyable for me.
I know it's really cool when people do come up and then they talk to us at shows and be like, hey, I listened to this song. I was wondering where you got the idea for this line right here. And I was like, oh, this is from, so-and-so in the 90s, or it's a dedication to this band I grew up listening to. And it's just like subtle changes. Like one of my favorite bands in the late 90s, and they're still one of my favorite bands, they're called Downway. They're out of Calgary. They used to be on Sessions Records, if you guys remember that label.
I think so.
Big Warp. They were all over the Warp Tour. So they had a song, and so we did our first single called Empty of Ice on the record. And I did, the way I started vocally is actually a dedication to one of their songs, which was one of my favorite songs. And cool thing about that is, fast forward 20 years later, we're actually on the same record label as Downway. And Dave is on Sing With Me. He did vocals for Sing With Me.
That's awesome.
On that record. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Were you at all influenced by a band called Autopilot Off? Because in the vocals, I can hear just a twinge of like that vocal style. If you've ever listened to them,
I have heard them. I never listened to them, so I wouldn't know.
Right.
I actually had seen them a few times, and I enjoyed their show. I just never one of those. I remember like in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was like if I was into a certain set of bands, like certain 5 bands, I was going to listen to those bands for 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, which is a downside, because I missed out on a lot of really good bands. And then you come, 5 years later, you're like, why didn't anybody tell me about this fucking band? And they're like, we tried to, but you were in your bubble.
Yeah, constant play though. That doing that, like I do understand exactly what you're saying there, especially like the like the idea you hear a new band for the first time and you fucking love them. So you're driving to and from work. You're at the time, perhaps you have a Discman and or MP3 player. You have one album on it. You listen to it nonstop. You wear it out, but it takes like a year to do so.
Yeah.
That probably happened to all of us. I would guarantee that any one of us could say that there was a time period where for like easily a year to 2 years, it was the same 5 bands in constant rotation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's just
it's still kind of like that sometimes. I mean, my playlist.
Yeah. What if it's been 25 years?
Yeah, no, that sounds right. That sounds completely.
Yeah, when I get stuck on a band, like during the pandemic, I got stuck on the Dead Krasukis from France. And if you haven't heard them, they're incredible.
Hey, can you?
It's like that band that you literally listen to. You're like, how is this band not famous?
Yeah.
And it's this old AFI, like old AFI, mixed with just gritty punk rock. And the singer Mater, she just got this amazing voice on her, and it's not your typical female fronted punk rock. Not that there's anything against that. There's great bands out there, but like she brings this thunder that is not like anybody's doing right now. And that's hard to say because everything's so freaking saturated that if you say a band's doing something that other people are just not, that's huge.
Yeah.
It is,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's weirder. It's weirder nowadays if you're not in a band.
Speaking of well, not speaking of which, actually, back to something you said earlier, the gang vocals you were referring to at the end of the first song off of that album.
No, it's on Taps.
Okay, so either way, would you, just curiosity, because you said gang vocals, how much of it is you singing on top of yourself, like overdubbing, and actually was it all of you like wrapped around a mic just going for it?
Recording Chains of Frequency was really it was a learning process. Me and Danny, that's our first attempt at producing a record, just me and him. And no, we did not mix it. We have an engineer, Russ Ortega, who's an amazing engineer, but everything was
that. That's incredible.
through our ears. And so with that whole record, man, it started out. We were going into the studio, we were preparing, then the pandemic hit. We didn't talk to or see each other for like 8 months. And we had just put out a single. We had just put out Cool Kids Club. And so we were looking to have this done like 3 or 4 months later. And the pandemic said, nope. And so we and then Sasha moved from Reno to Portland. And so like that became a thing. So now literally all of our demoing is all done on interfaces and stuff like that. So that's how that record, there's like 4 songs on that record that some of the band members never even played. Me and Danny literally just produced.
Yeah.
And then like Sasha would throw down a guitar lead, send his guitar lead track down to us. And then that was it. It was our first experience with having to deal stuff with computers and
Yeah, no, we've talked to a couple of bands.
Yeah, we've heard that same story so many times. Like yeah, I mean, a lot of bands had to learn to adjust to new things. Like,
it's just a part of it's. I have this thing, and I'm actually going to be making a T-shirt out of it because I do I'm starting my own clothing line. It's going to say "Evolve or Go Extinct," and that has to do with the music scene, man. Or being a musician. Sometimes people move away. That doesn't mean they can't be in the band to meet you where they need to be.
Oh, especially not now. I mean,
no. And now it's so easy. I mean, I have literally $100 worth of gear, and I'm able to do my vocal tracks for what we're working on in a studio. It's hey, I'm done. Here you go.
Well, even the craziness with being able to like sound replace almost anything that you could enter. I mean, the idea that you could take somebody and put them on an electronic kit and it'll sound just like an acoustic on an album, which means you can.
Easy Drum is the coolest thing ever.
Oh no, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, like they literally drag and click, and that dude. I don't know if you've ever seen a guy who engineers that. Watch him play on drums.
I've not.
It's ridiculous. He is a monster. It's the same guy who does all the samples. So it's like, and that's the thing is with technology now. I'm sorry, I'm a huge gear nerd, so we'll go on a rant. Is they've gone from modeling stuff that just kind of sounds like stuff to actually sampling, being able to record stuff like exactly how it sounds, so it makes it sound more real. So that's how we actually demo. Is we'll take Easy Drummer. We'll all do the bass tracks, guitar tracks. We're all multi-instrumental. So, even I have this idea for a song that needs to be sung like this. Then they'll do vocals, send it how they want me to sing it. And we go from there.
Oh shit. So are there times where you guys are writing based around an idea for lyrics?
We can. I wrote all of Change the Frequency. Danny wrote Safe at Home. Danny wrote Faded Dreams, and then Happily Forever After was a cover.
Wow. How many people? By the way, how many people are playing with?
5.
There's 5 total. You guys,
so there's technically six. My brother also worked with George. He moved up to Salem, Corvallis area, Oregon. So then we have Bo, who's been our kind of our go-to to help us out and play shows, and and then Rodriguez moved up to Auburn, amazing bass player, and he's also another musician that has a great ear. You have Sasha in Portland, who's shredder on guitar, great bass player, great musical ear, and one hell of an entertainer. He's one of my him being in the band has upped my game performance-wise so much. It's hard to be the front man, and you're supposed to get the attention, and the guy next to you dressed like a fucking banana.
You guys are fun to watch, though. I really enjoyed watching you guys when you were up here.
That was a good time. That was the first time we had been back since before the pandemic, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's good to play in front of kids. We learned that on our last tour that we like four shows in a row that were all ages. These kids were just going nuts and having fun and actually buying records and shirts. And then our last show was at a bar, and we're like, okay, now we got to go back to crossed arms and don't spill my beer.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. Yeah, that was a good time. And then the last but not least member is Danny Tuggle, and he is the maestro of the band. He teaches us all how to be better. He's been playing music since he was like 3. He can play every instrument you can think of.
man.
Oh yeah, he's an asshole. He's one of those.
Yeah, but it's
absolutely
he's
one of those.
asshole, though, from what you're describing.
Well, yeah, I remember I walked into his house once, and I'm just hearing somebody go nuts on a piano, and he's like blackout drunk, and it just sounds like so amazing. I didn't even know I'm standing there.
It's awesome.
But yeah, I am fortunate that I get to play with a lot of really, really good players in punk rock and great musicians. My brother, him moving away put a little damper on some things, but he's doing really a lot better, and he's the one that got me into punk rock. So playing with him in a band later has just been awesome. Ups and downs always, but that's with any band.
What was the first album that you heard him playing that suddenly piqued your interest?
Is that him?
Like, what's the standout? I know you probably couldn't narrow it down, but the one that stands.
Green Day's Dookie.
Yep.
Green Day's Dookie got me into NoFX, which got me into The Offspring, which got me into Operation Ivy. And then we started going to Bay Area, the Gilman Street and all the Bay Area bands and learning about them. And then when I discovered like the really fast hardcore, like Good Riddance, 7 Seconds, into Pennywise, and now Good Riddance is literally like my favorite band of all time.
Oh, Good Riddance.
Yeah, I got to see them in Sacramento a few months ago, and it was at a very small venue, nice and intimate, and it was so cool.
Yeah.
My partner was making fun of me. She goes, "You're like a big child," because I don't ever get into shows anymore. Now I'm older, so I'm the guy in the back not wanting to get hurt.
Yeah, but
like for them, I literally was like right at the front.
We didn't, though. I mean, they're there to literally watch something. I mean, I remember being younger, the same thing, being like, "No, why aren't you up here?"
Yeah,
because they wanted to listen to the fucking band.
Yeah,
they wanted to just run in circles to a drum beat.
Because I paid $15 for this drink, and knock it out of my hands. You're paying $15 for this drink.
That was I think it told them we had another show where I got mentioned this. The Good Riddance. The only reason I even knew who they were is because I went to go see Down by Law, and they brought them with them opening in Atlanta, Georgia, in like '96 or something like that. They blew them off the stage. That was the Forgotten Country album.
So good. I was listening to it today. But yeah, that's them. Good Riddance. I would say our 3 influences is probably Good Riddance, Bad Religion, Pennywise, and yeah, that's about it.
I can see it.
I mean, there's countless bands I could name, that I've not necessarily taken ideas from, but they make me. I'll listen to them and they make me want to grab my guitar and start writing music.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Is you can hear tints of like so many different bands in every song of yours. Like, all the Epitaph bands, like I was saying earlier, like you can go from like prop to even rancid with bass lines and stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool to have a bass player that can play stuff like that. Like Rod's, he's pretty awesome.
I mean, he's definitely, out of curiosity, is he a pick player?
He can do both.
What is his preference? Though I only ask because
for us, we always like the sound of a pick. So he asked when he joined the band, we're like, oh, we'd rather you play pick. I always like that driving sound, that that click, that
Yeah.
I get that. I definitely get that.
Yeah.
No, that's actually, when you say it out loud, it suddenly becomes very clear too. As far as, by the way, the production. The reason I was asking if you guys had anything to do specifically with the production, I generally speaking, when we talk to bands on here, I have 3 different sound systems I'll run music through, and it's a simple little test. Like, one is my phone, right? What does it sound like on shitty little tin speakers? The next one is a JBL Flip, like Bluetooth speaker, and then I have an old fucking surround sound system that you have to like jack in to actually do it. That album actually sounds fucking great on all 3, and that doesn't happen often.
The mastering engineer Vincent Cote that Thousand Island Records put us through, he is really, like, he's amazing. He masters all their records. So if you listen to pretty much their whole catalog, like, they all have this amazing mastering done to them.
He's got a hell of an ear, man. He really does. It is impressive how good everything sounded on each speaker, especially like the phone test. Nobody expects to pass a phone test.
No,
like,
you don't get clarity out of that.
No, well, even if you do, it's all the upper end, right? There's no understanding of any type of bass, but I guess because of the attack that we mentioned earlier, there is bass punctuation on it. Like, you can not feel it, but you definitely know where it's supposed to be. So I don't know. It is amazing to me that it sounded good on all 3 things. It never happens, but that happens.
Thank you. Yeah, we did have a lot of fun with that record. I mean, having a bunch of guests on it. We did the cover of "We're Not Gonna Take It" at the end of it, and Jason DeVore from Authority Zero sings the second verse. There's a funny story. We were playing with them. We played 2 shows with them, one in Berkeley and then one in Santa Cruz. And the first show, we start playing that song, and how we finished our set. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see Jason run up to the stage. He looks at me and just starts laughing. And he tells me, "Yeah, I came running out of the dressing room. I was going to grab a mic, but I completely forgot the words." Yeah, we're fortunate enough to be able to play with those guys quite a bit, and those are great, just fantastic people.
I'm going to be fortunate enough to see them here in a couple of weeks. They're coming to Charleston with Bowling for Soup and Mess.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Midway in San Francisco on the 18th.
Oh yeah,
it's on the 19th.
I'm really looking forward to it. My teenage self is screaming with excitement. So.
Authority Zero, I've never put on Authority Zero and somebody went, "Oh, this band sucks," because they do so many different styles, and like you listen to that dude sing and you're like, that guy just really enjoys what he does.
Yeah,
right. Oh yeah, definitely shows in the product. But we're gonna go ahead and cut to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get into some origin stuff.
Awesome.
Bedbugs! Delfino sleep today! Bedbugs! Something crazy game to play!
Bedbugs is the frantic new catch and capture game where you pick a color and then scramble to get the most bugs.
Bedbugs!
Batteries not included.
Don't let them get away! Bedbugs! It's a wacky game to play! Bedbugs! Delfino sleep today! Bedbugs! Don't get carried away!
Bedbugs from Milton Bradley. It'll drive you buggy.
Big cheeses have more cheeses. Big cheeses have more cheeses. Big cheeses have more for you to love. It's a triple taste treat that can't be beat, yay.
Burger King introduces the Big Cheese, Swiss Jack and American on a flame broiled burger. There's more for you to love.
'Cause we do it like you to do it at Burger King.
All right, we're back.
Did I get the swing right?
That was good.
Yes, you did.
So, Well,
Yeah.
I do want to ask about like the origins of the band. So, how long have you guys been together?
I started the band next year will be 20 years. 2004. 2004, I was working operations at a store, and one of my old friends walked in. That was the original guitar player. Said, "Hey, let's jam." And we jammed, and I was originally playing drums, and then I was like, I don't want to do this because I'm tired of fucking getting up and showing you guys songs. So then I went on to guitar. And our first bass player, Dave Brown, who was on our very first record, which is impossible to find yet. We got some things brewing to get those songs out, but and then our first drummer, Joe Lujan, great drummer, great musicians. We didn't have a singer, and so I was just playing guitar, and we got offered a show with Agent Orange for our first show. And so I was like, fuck, I write words. I got journals and fucking poetry up the ass. So started writing stuff, wrote 7 songs and a cover, and played our first show. And then second show was with like TSOL. So we got off to a really good start, but didn't really do anything for 5 years. We just played around the Bay Area in the same spots over and over again. Nobody really wanted to tour. I did. Then we went on a hiatus for a while. I played drums in a couple other hardcore bands. And then decided, basically went on tour with one of my bands, and the singer was like, yeah, I only want to play like once every 6 months. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And so I was like, I need to get back where I need to be, and that's up front. And 2 days later, our next bass player, Robert Smith, called him up. He was down to play. He was always a fan of the band. And then literally the next day, Danny, who I'd been begging to jam with, calls me. So that lineup started to form, and started to really get out of town and play as much as possible. I think the most shows we ever played in a year was like 68 shows or something. And that's as Weekend Warriors. That's not like on touring. That's everywhere, going away, doing San Diego one trip, the next weekend doing, up north. And it was a lot of gas. But that was a big part of Robert and the band, is he really pushed us to get out and tour. And then moving forward, once right around the time we started tracking for Safe at Home, his time in the band was up. So we brought in a new bass player, but finished that record. That record got us signed to Heliarch Records out of Bakersfield. And love Jimmy, love everything he did for us. Really, really pushed us a lot. And then played as much as we could all over the place, playing with some big acts, playing with, Strung Out, playing with a lot of the fat bands. And fast forward to 2019, Rich is pretty much done. He's been in the band for 15 years and just had too much stuff going on. And things started to get a little bitter for a while. And then I had asked him, I said, can you still do this? Because we mentioned going to like Canada or going here, and your immediate answer was no. And so I want you to do this with me. I don't need you to do this with me.
Yeah.
And that's where it started to really evolve as a business for me. And I know you're not supposed to say that because it's taboo and punk rock, whatever. It's all a business when you get to this point.
Yeah.
So Rich steps out. My brother George jumps in literally the next week, goes on tour with us for a week and a half. Then we jumped into Quebec at the Redbridge Fest, and that changed everything for us. And it was the first time playing internationally, playing a big festival, and the Canadian crowd loved us. Then we got, I always try and think of things chronologically, so I'm never prepared for this.
No, you're actually doing great so far. This is like a decent timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. then after that, we basically we did Red Bridge. We then signed 1,000 Islands Records. Heliarch had closed their doors, but he still does. He still sends us our freaking Spotify, $10 every year.
Hey, that's 10 American.
And that's right. There's a funny story about American and Canadian currency that I'll explain to you guys, but off there.
Oh.
There's a funny story. I just can't say it on the air. So we go back and we play the Music for Cancer Festival in Montreal, and that was incredible. Playing for Good Riddance, which was it. Dude, I was just, starstruck that the fact that I got to share the stage with Good Riddance and Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Awesome. And it was an incredible day. The night and Chase, the guys in Chaser played right after us too, so it was us and Chaser. And then it was a great. That's somebody you guys should try and get on the show is Mike from Chaser. He's awesome to talk to.
We have interviewed and talked.
He was one of our first guests, actually.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, Mike's he's such a great.
We want to bring him back. Gem.
They're all just like these genuinely nice people. So we're like, when I first met them, I was like, nobody's this fucking nice and cool.
Yeah.
What are they up to? But no, they're like seriously like. They're like the nicest fucking people, and they deserve everything they're fucking getting right now because they promote the shit out of it. They promote like I did when I was like 10 years younger, and they're killing it out there. I love seeing it. So they played, and then a couple other bands, then Good Riddance and Me First and Gimme Gimme. So that was really good time. Then we take pretty much the rest of the year off to start writing the record. Our bass player, there's a story that we left our bass player in Canada. That is 100% true. The person went up there. He met somebody, and we're like, "Hey, we're leaving. We're going from the show straight to the airport to wait for 2 hours to get on our flight." He goes, "Oh, I'll meet you guys there." And I was like, "What about your bass?" He goes, "Fuck that bass." And I'm like, the thing is me being the control freak I am, everybody thinks I'm gonna be upset, and I'm like, no. I said to be on the stage at 3 o'clock. He was on the stage at 3 o'clock. I don't give a fuck how he gets home. And sure enough, he didn't show up. He didn't come home for like another week, and then he ended up moving to Quebec for a while. And his time in the band had come to an end. And then a few months later,
a love story in.
Huh?
We managed to sneak a love story in like that. There's a time where a love story was randomly thrown in.
He only lasted like 3 months.
Looks like a fucking Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, it lasted like 3 months.
So after that, enter Rod Rodriguez, and this guy just was not only had our stuff down so fast, but it was like already writing bass lines for the new songs we were doing for Change the Frequency, like within weeks, and it was a really good fit musically. And it made a lot of sense for him to join us. And then the pandemic hit. Yep. And then the story that I told earlier about writing Change the Frequency started, and we all kind of had our own stuff going on. And that's pretty much about it. Just we've always had a consistent flow, trying to keep it going. Our next goal is to get over to Europe and play some of those festivals and be able to, hang out with our friends over there that we haven't had a chance to meet in person, but we talk online too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
So, quick question: what was the cover that you did for your first show?
The very first show, I Killed Mommy with an Automatic by the Dayglow Abortions.
Nice. Nice. I just had to know. Because every band.
It was funny. Is the last we went to Canada. Last October, we did 4 shows in Canada, and the first show we played has this band called Greybush, and it's this playful, like kind of in your face punk rock band. They were great. Why does that guy's voice sound familiar? It's fucking Jimbo from the Dayglow Abortions.
Jimbo lives.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Sorry.
Yeah, we've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When you guys write new songs, I mean, I know you sort of covered this earlier, but the main, like, I guess, creative power in the band would be you and who, or what is it? Everybody can you just randomly throw something out there.
It really depends. As of late, everybody's been kind of throwing songs. I mean, Sasha really brought some amazing riffs to Change the Frequency, as did George. I mean, Sasha brought Running Out of Time. He brought Taps. George brought Empty Advice and Demons, and you know, those were 4 songs that were really we were able to make stand out on that record.
Sasha,
and so that's
responsible for the Castlevania style.
Yeah.
It's I'm sort of focusing on that because I didn't really think about it when I was listening to it until you said it. And now
you'll hear it.
Well, no, I mean, it's all I can hear. It's like I'm hearing it in my head and I'm thinking about it. That's fucking clever. That's really fucking clever.
It's gentle nods to the things that really influence us, and they don't always have to be punk rock, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, Change the Frequency. When I came up with the hook for that, and it sounds nothing like what I'm about to tell you. Keep Yourself Alive. Not Queen, the band that they were before Queen. I can't think of their name. But the song Keep Yourself Alive. That hook
Smile
was what Smile, thank you. That hook is what gave me the idea for the hook of Change the Frequency. They don't sound anything alike, but for some reason I was listening to that song, and all of a sudden the breakdown of how I was going to sing Change the Frequency came to mind, and the presentation of it. So it's like, where you get influence from, it's all over the place. I mean, it could be the fucking Gremlins, for God's sakes.
Obviously. Yeah, as mentioned before.
So, how did you settle on the name United Defiance?
We had 2 original names. The original was Never Been Caught, after the record by the Criminals. Problem is, the bass player we had for a short amount of time, this is before we were actually like a band, he had been to jail many times and was like, yeah, but that's not true in my case. So, didn't go with him.
At least he was honest.
I know that guy.
Yeah. He's like, that doesn't work for me. And then taking influence from the band from Calgary Downway, they had a record called Never Be Clever Again, so we switched to the name Never Be Clever. And that was our original, like, we were going to start gearing up to play shows. And then I had talking to my guitar player, and I said, it's almost like a United Defiance. And I went, that's our fucking name.
It was an organic
moment.
We were talking about history, and we were talking about the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And I said, it was a United Defiance, and took that name.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. It's like a real quick organic thing that happened.
It's a lot of things with this. Even the name of the record, Change the Frequency. That's kind of how it happened. Me and my brother. I mean, if you listen to a lot of the words that I wrote on there, there's a lot of darkness in that record. Even going back to the previous records that we did, there's a lot of darkness from my childhood and stuff. So with Change the Frequency, you know, I did a lot of not necessarily like PMA. I don't really fall into that, but like, just, hey, move forward, move on, change your fucking life. We were at Niagara Falls in Toronto. We're on the Toronto side, and me and my brother were having kind of a heart to heart, and he goes, yeah, I just, you know, I want to get back home and really change the frequency. And he even did hold up to his head, you know, change the frequency. And I was like, that's the name of our record. And because everybody at that time was going through different things in life, different, you know, we had to change differences. I had moved on from home, left my previous situation at home. So like everybody was doing things to change their life up and going through stuff. And it was like, you're either going to come out of it one way or you're going to come out of it another. And you can change your frequency all you want to, but like if you don't move forward and move on from stuff, it's just going to keep weighing you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I'm also the guy, and Sunshine knows this, that when people are like, yeah, stop saying motivational stuff, I can't.
I get mad at him sometimes too, because I'm like, just let me bitch. Like, let me bitch.
I'm sorry. I can't because I was so miserable for so much of my life. I used to blame everybody for my fucking problems and all that stuff. But once I really decided that I was done with that, I can't be that person that's just gonna let my friends drown.
I was lucky enough to meet Clinton when he was probably in the middle of changing quite a bit. So I've been lucky to watch him grow. And when he talks about Change the Frequency and like how much it meant to him, it really does. Like that album truly is from his heart. Like I see it.
It would help. It's a great album. It really, like this musical period, like it's from the first song, like I would call it a kickoff, really. I mean, it is. By the way, who arranged that? Was that the order that they were written in, or was it like
I did the arrangement. The arrangement basically went into change the frequency just because it was, or not change the frequency, running out of time just because of how it starts. And us using the Fight Club sample at the beginning,
which is it's
going sample. Into Demons. Yeah, it basically everything's an evolution of the song before it, and even with Cool Kids Club, you're fighting your demons and stuff. And I wanted to go to punk rock shows because that's where I felt, safe and where I felt like I belonged. And all of a sudden, the elite punk rockers were like, why are you here?
Right.
And so I wrote Cool Kids Club. Cool Kids Club is actually word for word an argument I got into with a promoter of a very famous club out here. I will not say its name, but it is one of the most famous clubs in the world. You guys can guess what it is. Yeah. You are. And it really sucked, and then moving all the way down the list, like I brought up Taps before, that literally is the Sasha had written the entire song musically, and like I just came to mind. He wanted to call it Thoughts and Prayers, and all of a sudden all these lyrics started to come to mind of just how worthless that is to say to somebody. Especially when they just lost everything.
Right.
And then Sing With Me, Sunshine's heard this story. So I got hammered, go figure. And I watched the new Bill and Ted's movie.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic for its time. It was fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't Oscar worthy. It wasn't supposed to be. Anyways, so I decided I wanted to write the song. I wanted to write the song that unites the world. And so I wrote Sing With Me. And then Change the Frequency is pretty self-explanatory on that. It just everything starts to unfold, and this is where you got to change. But in order to change, you have to cut out toxic people. And the song My Resignation is literally a letter that I wrote to my family about how I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I can't be around toxic people anymore. And nothing ever changed. So I'm just like, okay, I can't do that. Which that song still holds me accountable to that too when I want to give in. Like, no, you fucking wrote a song about it. You can't go back now.
Yeah.
Right.
And Spy versus Spy, which was always one of my favorites. I wrote that riff, that whole song about 15 years ago, and I just finally put words to it. And it's just about, those friends that like you keep around, but you don't even know if you fucking like each other. Right. You don't know. You're like, every time I'm with this person, I get to where we're going, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
For sure. But
that's how I came up with the breakdown of that.
Nice. But we're gonna go ahead and cut to one more break, and then come back and wrap things up.
Yep.
Ooh.
I've done it. It's dissect an alien, and it's gross. You take his insides out and put them back in. Too gross. Yeah. That's disgusting. He's a real slime bucket. Yuck! Dissect an alien. Watch for time freaks and more gross creations so you too can be a mad scientist. Too gross.
Phew, I'm roasting. Time for a dip. Yeah, no delicious milk chocolate.
And no colorful candy shells.
We can't be M&M's without candy shells or delicious milk chocolate.
Wake up, Peanut.
What? My candy shell. It was all a dream.
Come on, we're gonna be late for the party.
Great day to be M&M. Play it.
All the world loves M&M's. The milk chocolate melts in your mouth.
Not in your hand.
And we're back.
Yeah, we're
Did you right this time? We're back. Wait, let me do my tattoo on. We're back. Now I look like I'm elbowing somebody. Anyways, welcome back, everybody. Clinton, thanks so much for joining us. Do you want to plug anything? Do you have anything to talk about? Upcoming?
No, we don't really have much upcoming. I know we're going to do 2 shows in November. It's yet to be determined or announced, but hopefully we can get that next week or 2 announced and get some promotion behind it. If you're interested in records, you can get Change the Frequency vinyl, 3-color variant, black, splatter green, and splatter purple at thousandislandrecords.com, or you can message me and I'll send it to you. You can get the Safe at Home vinyl and Atomic Yellow at imrecords.com. And yeah, we're just kind of plugging along and demoing and seeing what comes out soon, and or what ideas come out soon. And you know, I just hope to see more people at shows moving forward, because there's so many amazing bands out there.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of one to talk because it's hard to go to shows because, you know, I got kids, but like the place that I book, Tits Tavern, you know, it allows me 2-3 times a month to go out and see some really awesome bands. And I'm like, man, these bands should really start touring and going and doing stuff. So just everybody just keep your eyes open, and there's amazing bands out there right now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But that's wish we had more.
I'm right there with you. Here in Charleston. Here in Charleston, it's the same thing. Like, there's a ton of amazing bands. People need to just be checking out, and I'm trying my damnedest to get their name out there. And like,
yeah,
you guys know I'm always sharing shit. Like, hey, these guys are from here. They're really fucking good.
Literally,
spread them around. Spread them the fuck around. And so yeah, support the locals.
Yeah.
See it or watch it, just kind of look.
Yeah.
But you can also you can get our merch at epicmerch.com as well, t-shirts and whatnot. I also do a little bit of our own printing, and we have a website, UnitedDefianceBand.com. You got a link to everything.
All right.
Are you doing like old school screen printing?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to have my clothing line open by the end of the year, but I did one that's like one I'm wearing. It's Be Stoked for Your Friends.
That's absolutely like even the and, fucking everything.
Yep.
That is fucking awesome.
Do it.
Way to go, that guy. Seriously,
Yeah.
please, for the love of Christ, do that.
Yeah.
I have some of his t-shirts and patches, and you had a few patches for some bands up here too.
We had dude, that I'm no joke. That is fucking awesome. There's not enough people out there doing that shit anymore.
Yeah.
And it is what used to make a fucking shirt you bought at a show an awesome shirt.
Yep.
It wasn't a limited run, it was the only way you could have fucking gotten it.
Yep.
That's fucking great.
Screen
Sorry,
print
that's how
patches,
excited I've
all
been in
that
quite a
fun
while.
stuff.
Sunshine. But I'll let Sunshine know when I get everything up, as far as the clothing line, or you could message me and I can send you what I have and stuff like that.
Please do.
Oh yeah.
Would you rather I'm very happy about this. This is a good idea.
You guys, okay, so are you guys ready for Would You Rather?
Are we all playing?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We're all playing and everybody gets points, and there's going to be 5 winners.
Wait, who's scoring though? Who's scoring? Can I score? Because if I score, he's the only one that's going to win.
I think.
No.
Is there really a score for Would You Rather?
No.
I think this is more truth or dare.
All right, shut up, everybody. Okay, first question. Would you rather have the constant feeling that bugs are crawling on your skin, or that someone is calling your name every 2 minutes?
Oh my God. I would totally
Who's
take
answering
bugs.
first?
I would totally take bugs over hearing voices. Absolutely.
Are there like? Can I ask a question before I answer?
There's follow-up questions. Okay, yes, you can ask a follow-up question. That's minus 2 points.
Am I in public while this shit's happening?
Yes. The most public you could ever be.
Somebody calling my name every 2 minutes. I'd rather just look like I have friends.
As a cook, somebody is calling my name every 2 minutes, so I'm just gonna go with the flow.
That's not fair.
Yeah, that was yesterday. That's fine.
That was this morning.
I've heard voices in my head since I was a kid, so I'm kind of used to that. But I fucking hate bugs. So
I'm calling Katie. For that.
I'm a mom, so I've learned how to ignore it. So I would also pick the name.
Actually, you know
all
what?
right, next one.
I'm pretty content with them. I've grown with them. I love
Pretty
them.
content with them. Would you rather be handcuffed to your worst enemy for life, or be separated from your entire family?
Family.
I mean,
are you
at least
allowed
if
to
you're
be
handcuffed to someone that you don't like, you can punch them with the other arm. So.
Wait.
That's true.
Is it just my worst enemy, or do they hate me too? This is important.
Oh, that is important.
I say
My
just
worst
your
enemy.
worst enemy.
So I only hate them.
I'll take my worst enemy.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take that one.
So then you
My
can
worst
handcuff
enemy
them rock.
is my own worst enemy for a reason.
Yeah, but Craig was correct. You
Like
have an
trying.
open hand. You could spend the rest of your life just occasionally being like, "Fuck you."
No, because
That's gonna be my new thing.
No, I can't say that. I can't say that on the air. I can't say it on the air.
Wait.
Okay.
So
Now the question of the hour.
Next question, please.
Next question, please. Would you rather be forced to obey someone you hate, or have to give awful orders to someone that you love?
Off what orders?
Orders to
Awful?
someone you love.
Awful
Awful?
I'm too
orders.
fond of giving orders, so I would have to say like I wouldn't want to give awful orders.
I don't listen very well, so I don't know.
You
there's
got to
no
remember
stipulation about
what's
how
off.
to follow the orders. I'll take the first. You don't
You
have
got to
to
remember what's
have to
awful to
absolutely
some
talk
people is just fucking
I mean, we've all had
cakewalk
dogs.
to others.
So
Yeah, seriously. Like we.
look at her. She's like,
Yeah, I've been doing that my entire adult life.
You've had a minimum wage job. You've had someone you hate barking orders at.
Yeah.
I've actually done both of those
Yeah.
Yeah,
things.
neither
I've
is a
been a
pleasant.
manager
Neither
before.
is a pleasant
Yeah.
place.
I'm a manager now.
That's a trick question. That's a trick question.
It's a trick question. Okay.
I'm gonna take
Well, some of these are dumb, so I'm going to skip through one. Would you rather be mortal on an immortal planet, or immortal on a mortal planet?
immortal.
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 I thought that was a good one.
That's a silly question. I mean, like, why wouldn't you want to live to see what the fuck happens?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like someone you don't
See
like.
how
dies.
bad they can fuck it up.
Someone you don't
That's
like
like-
dies.
that's like
You
one of
like
those
dancing in the
everlasting
room like,
questions.
I'll be here forever.
No, that's the whole thing.
Somebody's gonna
Do you
get in
remember
there.
that zombie thing, zombie bug? That's I forgot where now. Oh, and
Eventually, somebody's gonna say there can be only one, and there's not gonna be immortals.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously, someone's going to try and cut your head off, and maybe you'll win.
I just want to be a
It's
zombie.
going to be some awesome sparks.
Okay, so would you guys rather have no elbows or no knees?
Oh fuck.
No knees. My knees
This
are
is
fucking
actually the
killing
weirdest
me.
question possible.
No knees.
No knees.
Dude, you couldn't blow your nose without elbows.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can.
How?
Prove
You can put the tissues on something and just like.
No, you couldn't even fucking
Yeah.
blow. You couldn't
Yeah,
even,
that's
there's
how it
no
works.
way. If you had a cold, you'd be fucking miserable.
You
I'll
just have
take
to
no
hold a tissue on a stick and go like this.
I'll take no knees.
No knees it is. I'd rather.
I would take no elbows. I need my knees. You know how short I would be if I had no knees?
No, you're assuming that the knees would be removed. I'm assuming there wouldn't be a joint, so you'd still have like you just walk.
I immediately go to I lost height.
You know, tree branches.
Oh fuck me! I'm 4 foot.
You think one more?
Hey, what's wrong with being 4 foot?
There's nothing wrong with being 4 foot. The fucking Wizard of Oz wouldn't have been made without it.
Would you rather lick the floor of a New York City subway station or a bowl of a public toilet?
Oh fuck!
Oh god, both of those are losers.
I mean, either way, I'm probably gonna die from disease. So.
Yeah, no, yeah, but you got to look.
Give me the subway. Give me the subway.
Yeah.
Subway.
Subway? Ew.
Subway it is. I mean, you're gonna be dead, but at least you're not gonna have to fucking deal with it that long.
At least I can jump in front of a train afterwards.
Well, it says I've completed all the questions, so now I have nothing for you. Would you rather continue this conversation or would you rather end?
You got kids to go pick up.
That's a good wrap up.
That's a good place to end.
Anybody that runs across it, what do you take away from this? What would you rather think?
Well, thank you so much for joining us and having fun.
Always fun.
Yeah.
I would love to come back on. You guys are having.
Sure.
Yeah,
man.
of course.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Yep.
Sunshine.
All right, thank
Jason,
you.